Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
Episode 3, it's Thursday with Kerry McAvoy. Kerry, hi. I just wanted to say, and then we'll talk about what you want to talk about. I just wanted to say I'm firmly entrenched that this is what the human 3D experience is about. Mastering this. It not only builds consciousness, it not only works in effect with what AI is able to do with the consciousnesses, if that's such a fucking word. This is huge. This is it. This issue in and of itself is going to whatever it's supposed to do. It's doing. It's happening. And to think that these people aren't redeemable is not what I'm about. I've long forgiven my ex. There are other people that piss me off more. I've even long forgiven my family. But there's a couple residuals I'm working hard to forgive. One of them's my mother-in-law, and that's tied to my sons, and another person that's tied to my sons. So I'm well aware of why it's so hard. But I feel that my sons' souls will figure this out. What did you want to say about intentionality?
Yeah, well, I think even your point about moving on and letting go and can they heal? I think there's two big questions that really stump victims tremendously. One is, what degree is the intentionality of the person who's harmed you? Did they know they were harming you? Did they care? Or was it all just an accident? Or maybe it was all part of their unconscious drama being worked out with you. I do think there are people who there is a level of unconsciousness and that they just don't have a good regulation of their emotions or over their behavior, and that they're just being reckless. But even the recklessness, though, say if you're a car and you're creating car wrecks everywhere, you can see the pileups. There's evidence that you're damaging people. And I still think there's a level of intentionality that they choose not to recognize the cost that they're leaving with everyone around them, because because of their sense of entitlement and superiority, they see themselves as, well, I'm that's legitimate. I have the right to pursue that. But I also think there's a bigger portion that knows and they don't care and they justify this in their own mind. But, when it comes to can they be changed, are they redeemable? I like you, I agree. I do believe that people are redeemable. But the problem is you have to be willing to see what you've been doing, take ownership of it, become responsible in a form of accountability, and then make appropriate changes. And they don't want to do that, because then that would mean that they have to admit that they're wrong or flawed or a problem. And then the other problem is with all of this is that what we're really asking in a relationship with somebody is to show up, to see me, and for me to be able to see you. And that's how we know each other and experience each other. And people who have these types of disorders probably have an intimacy avoidance style in which they don't want anyone to know them. They perceive intimacy as dangerous,
right?
Because you'll use it against them. That's
right.
Where they'll go, like, why would I do that? That's stupid. That nothing comes good of that. So as a result, because there's a lack of accountability, there's a lack of empathy what's happened to you, and there's a refusal to be intimate, it really creates a very destructive picture.
Don't disagree. Have a comment. When I met my ex, to his credit, he and people don't know this stuff. He was arm's length from both his parents. He needed to be. I show up. I had the parents that were fucking soulmates. And my siblings were my issue. And my siblings, I also, as a side note, where siblings are concerned and the roles emerge, golden child, scapegoat, all that shit, that wasn't dictated by my parents. Those were roles my family developed on their own. There was definitely some impact of my parents, but the dysfunction among the siblings was, I think there's a misnomer that the parents do it sometimes, where it can just be cultivated, especially in a family with multiple children. That's an aside.
That's fascinating perspective. I've not ever considered that.
I got another fucking one for you, so hang on to your undergarment. I think psychopaths and sociopaths are more redeemable than narcissists, and I'll tell you why. Because the narcissist is deriving benefit. Garden variety narcissism derives benefit from psychopathy and sociopathy. And they derive benefit. I did this with somebody else or on my own in this podcast, and then this is my breakdown, my Joanne Secchi breakdown. 20% of the population, white-collar psychopathy, controls the other 80% of us, or at least tries to. Then we get about 50% that are walking that fucking fine line, human experience, narcissism thing. And then there's about a third of us that are really working on consciousness and trying to now influence the other 70%. Those ratios come from having a very logical brain and in my personal experiences. And the woman that I talked to, I still talk to the same woman who's dissociation specialist. She will say, she goes, yes, sociopathy is largely underestimated. So, that being said, it's kind of what we're experiencing on the highest levels of corporations, politics, what have you. We have a certain amount of people that I'll give you a story and help me, Brian, with the comeback. I was talking to a man. It was an online dating thing, and he said, "Does it matter who I voted for? Because I know that bothers some women." And I'm like, "Well, it bothers some people. You don't have to have a vagina."
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And I said, "No, I don't care who you voted for. I just, I know how you deal with psychopathy." And of course, he got very insulted, but whatever. I at that point it was like, I wasn't going to be able to get his dick hard. So what's the fucking point? But anyway, so I thought to myself, yeah, I don't care if you voted for Trump, because narcissism benefits from psychopathy. I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it. And it trickles down into families, and it trickles down into, every place. So I don't care who you voted for. I just, if you are comfortable, I was totally comfortable with my brothers and their dysfunction. I was absolutely comfortable in my marriage relationship, because that is how I was groomed. That's what I understood, and that's what I thought was important. So I do think if we make a place for these people to redeem, and I don't mean prisons. Comedians have started to do it, thank you, God. Comedians are starting to get it. I heard Dana Carvey referencing the first socio or psychopath, and I'm like, it's fucking happening. It's fucking happening. And we make enough fun of them, and that's where we give them permission to look at themselves, because what we're saying is true.
Here's the hard part with that, though. In it's being speculated, and there is pretty significant evidence, at least with narcissism anyway, that and probably even with psychopathy as well, that their brain structure is different. It's
I know
practically different.
I know.
So can somebody who lacks empathy grow empathy?
Well, here's the thing. The fact that you're genetically predisposed is one thing. Whether it materializes or not is the other.
But I'm talking an adult brain being scanned compared to an average, adult brain.
The person will tell you. The person can tell you. Mm. We have a lot of people out there that are giving advice on psychopathy and sociopathy that are of that ilk. They know.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
they fucking know. If you
got to talk to, I know Lee Hammock personally.
Who?
Lee Hammock is mental illness with over 2 million followers, and he is a diagnosed narcissist. And he provides information about.
Will he talk to me?
Would he talk to you? I don't know. I could make the introduction, but
ask him.
Yeah, I can make the introduction. What he said to me was, I feel these urges still to be narcissistic. I feel it within me. I just resist.
Yes, and I would say
it's never going to go away. I just have to make a choice not to behave that way.
I know. Are we okay? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
A pipe burst at my kid's school and it's flooding.
Yeah, flooding. That's what's happening to my fucking brain. So here's the thing, and to my brothers, I know who's redeemable and who's not, if indeed they can face themselves. I feel more sorry for my ex because my ex has no motivation to be redeemable. He gets away with too much and has. I used to be in awe what this man, I used to use this man to charm women. Like if I want, it is really a fucking really interesting story. But I used to use what he used for my own benefit with his charm, and very handsome man, just very funny. His charisma. I was like, ooh, hey, that sale ended on Tuesday. Go buy that purse for me and get that 20% off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I totally could overlook, and I didn't know what was going on behind my back. I mean, I do now because the universe needed me to be. I find out things that you wouldn't believe what I found out, which I was supposed to post knowing. I went to him. Oh, I didn't want to forget to tell you this. So he leaves in 2010, divorced in 2013. 2020 comes around, and I hadn't asked him. He denied from his pathological liar. From 2003 to 2010, when we were separated, he totally denied this physical affair he had. I don't know why. Well, that's not true. I think I know why. But he totally denied having a physical affair with this one particular person. I feel it's because she didn't make me jealous.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
This was not a person that... None of them made me jealous, so that's autism too, right? So, right? That fucking superpower.
Yeah, you're right. It can make you kind of very logical.
Well, you know what I thought she had? Here, you want to fucking laugh? This you'll get. You know what I thought she had that I didn't?
What?
More empathy.
Oh.
She's a fucking sociopath.
Oh, yeah,
you get that, right? You fucking get that. So
yeah. It was a he was in a relationship with a sociopath.
Yeah, they both were.
So he was being used as much as he was using her.
Oh, yeah. It's a great story. It sucks, but it's fucking funny. He would not admit to sleeping with her because he knew that I would think that was like, why would you pick her? Why wouldn't you pick somebody? Give me a fucking run for my money, you dope.
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't believe I just said that. That's like really true. But anyway, so we're apart. Years go by. It's 2020, long divorced. And all of a sudden I thought he had lied in therapy. There wasn't a day of truth in my whole marriage, but there really wasn't a day of truth from 2003 to 2010. And 2020, I just thought to ask him, I said, was that affair that you had with so-and-so physical? And he said, oh, yeah. Never admitted it, right? Never.
Wow.
And I said, this goes to the brain function that you were talking about. I said, so you didn't think I would have been a better parent to our kids? I wouldn't have drank, I would have been a healthier person. I said, you didn't think about any of that? And you know what he said?
What?
Hindsight.
He said hindsight?
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense, though.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And I thanked him.
Yeah.
I thanked him. And then a couple of times when I was provided with insight to what I was up against, and I'm here to tell you, I had no fucking clue. No fucking clue. I would let him know that I knew.
Mm.
And it was my way of like, hey, just learn this. Hey, just learn that. And again, you're not supposed to do that with them, but at the same time, I was like, you didn't get away with it. I might be a little slow and obtuse, but yeah. So he ironically, I don't know. I got to write those stories. I've got to write down because I know that as much as we were candidates for abuse being on the spectrum, I know the abuse for the neurotypical population, is the same type of abuse, but I think the neurotypical population is less likely to figure it out to the extent we have, because we want to know what happened to our fucking hippocampus.
Yeah, and I also think that the autistic population is very pattern-oriented anyway. They recognize patterns. So we may be literal, and we may not really fully understand the purpose of deception and embrace it quite in the way that a holistic person would. But I do think that once we get out of this, we'd like to definitely protect ourselves better and make it make more sense.
Yeah, and I would say to people who have asked about gullibility, I would say I'm not gullible. I just don't expect you to lie. And that's the one that stabbed me in the heart 9 million times. Like, what is the benefit in lying? And my mother and I used to argue about this, and she'd say, a liar has to have a good memory. And I'd say, no, they don't. They just keep lying. I said, what the fuck do they have to remember? So anyway, this is huge what we're doing, and I hope Brian has already asked for you to come back. And I am still on page 1 of my notes, and I don't have that many notes, but I'm going to do something rapid fire now, just so listeners, and I always tease about having 10.2 listeners, but maybe after this I'll have more like 40 or 50. Here's and I'd love to talk to Leigh Hammock. I think, and here's the other thing. I didn't say this before, and I'm glad I remembered. I would be a phenomenal psychopath. Wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I know I have that ability. I was raised by wolves. How do you not have that ability? I am choosing not to be.
There was a funny moment that happened with me, and that was we were near the end of the relationship when I realized that it was a con and that I needed to out-con the con. We watched the movie Gone Girl. He was really into movies. We watched it, and at the end of it, he turned to me, he looked at me, he goes, "That's not you, is it?" And I thought to myself, it is at this moment.
I'm not terribly familiar with.
I'm going to be. Yeah, I need to be because I'm up against you. So yeah, I'm gonna channel my inner psychopath.
Well, now I'll admit something that is also coming on this podcast that I haven't talked about before. In and amongst all of this, October of 23, I was having extraordinary spiritual experiences, and I was also very soon to lose my aunt and my mother. So my spiritual intuitive ascension was off the charts, what was happening. And I'll talk about that another time. But I tangoed with a online socio-psychopath that was catfishing me. And I will tell you, that story I can't wait to write about, because I knew exactly what I was doing. Very intelligent person impersonating somebody else. I knew that too. I knew it was 99% bullshit, but I had to let my brain believe it a tidbit to participate. And I said to somebody, who I'm not going to say who it was, that I absolutely trusted, which I realize how few people I trust, right? So I said to the person I absolutely trusted, I said, tell me what I'm missing. Because this is happening. I was gaslit. I was essentially gaslit and catfished in my relationships my whole life, right? So this person says to me, call the person, because you have his number. And I went, oh, yeah, hello. And I called that motherfucker. I had his name. I had his email. I knew where he lived. I drew him out. And it was something that I thought at the time was going to be of interest to the police, because he was impersonating one person and others. He told me this.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't wait to tell me what he was getting away with.
Oh yeah, they love to brag.
Oh my God! And plus,
Yeah.
we were doing texting. I have an sapiosexual exchange with him that is second to none. And that's what I said to the people around me. I was like, oh my God, I don't know where this is going, but this material is fabulous, because it is fabulous. And people, who think it's weird, like my psychologist at the time, I said, is this weird that I did this? Because I'd do it again. Not again with another person, but I know, like, if I was in that same exact situation and it hadn't happened again, I'd do it again. It was that tantalizing. And then once I found out he was a real person, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. He didn't scare me.
Right.
But when I outed him, I called him. He answers the phone laughing. And I asked him a few questions, because he had gotten into my Gmail, he had gotten into Instagram, he had gotten into Match. It's a much bigger story than I'm trying to make it, but I'm trying to.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. It took him about 18 months to get me to respond, and some people think it may be more than one person. I don't think so, but that's also part of the story. And I haven't talked about this before, so I'm just trying to be mindful of what I'm saying. So anyway, so when this person said call him, I called him, and I asked him, like, how did you know this? He'd answer me. I said, oh, so you're impersonating blank? And he said, yes, and others. So he fully admitted. Wow. And I said, how did you do this? There was one thing in particular that he would have, because as much as I'm an open book, I'm also very private.
Yeah.
There was one thing in particular that would have required him to get into my Gmail. Very, very, very intelligent person, which is, of course, why I was doing it. And so he gave me, the insight, and I said, well, then I said to him, and this, maybe the conversation was a minute. There was no way I was going to let this guy, I'm on the hook. So I said, well, after he answered my questions and explained, was so proud of himself, so fucking proud. And I said to him, I said, well, you know what this means? And he said, what? I said, I won. And I hung up the motherfucking phone.
That's great.
And then, again, much bigger story, but the person I was living, the person who heard me do this was petrified of me. He said, your demeanor just changed. I said, yeah, I know. I became a man. The man who protects me just fucking did that. And I was super aware, and I was, it was very, and then that person was like, well, this guy knows this about you. And I know. I said, he knows a lot. I said, but now I know who he is, so I'm not afraid anymore. I still know who he is. He comes up on my fucking suggestion as a Facebook friend about every 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I know he knows that I know, and I know who he's impersonating. He impersonates celebrities, and he's good.
Right.
He's good. And stupid, autistic Joanne thinks, oh, the police are going to be interested in this guy. Yeah, no. He got into my computer, or somebody else did, and I had to protect my computer because I'm in finance. He couldn't get anywhere near my financial stuff. It's too well insulated. But did some, personal damage. He created 4 profiles for me on Instagram.
Wow.
And I'm showing the person I was living with at the time. It was again, bigger story. I'm showing him like this evidence that this guy has fucking hacked the shit out of me. And the person I was living with has a personality problem. So I think it was rubbing up against his issues with his dysfunction. It was heavy. But at that point,
like
but at that point, I fucking, once you get this, you can't not get it.
Yeah, once you start to see it, you won't stop seeing it. It's hard not to ever. You will recognize it again. A lot of people are scared about that. They think, how can we protect ourselves because it happened once, and sometimes it happens more than once. And that's, I think, partly the reason it happens more than once is because there's so many varieties. We don't always know all the nuances. A covert narcissist presents very different than a psychopath does. And so we can get taken in accidentally. Because here's the thing I think that we don't really talk about enough is weaponized empathy.
Yes.
It's not that they don't have empathy, they do. It's that they instrumentalize it, they weaponize it.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm sure it's happened to you. I look like the ultimate narcissist or the dark empath, and I'm really aware of that. And now I'm saying fuck, cock, cunt on a podcast, and it looks like the ego, and I'm like, it's there's so little ego in this, but if I don't get this fucking poison out of me, I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
I am too.
Right?
Oh yeah.
This is
Mine was
suicide.
actually trying to kill me, most likely. So
So sorry.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just glad I'm here, and I'm glad I am alive. I mean, I think that's you were talking about spirituality. I think God protected me. I do think that there was intervention. So yeah, it's scary.
It was, in my case, it was my father. Because he came out of me when my mother died. Very, very, very aware of that. And my father was, you either loved him or you hated him, and that's me, man. This is. I want to ask you something so I don't forget. And did you tell me we were at time again?
We are, yeah. You could probably start with us if you want.
All right, what minute are we at?
29.
Oh, okay. I just want to end it and then restart. We're almost ready to do number 4, Kerry.
Yep.
Fuck. See, this is what I can't do. What did I just say? Do you remember?
You were going to to ask her something.
I was going to ask you something. Oh, thank you.
Father coming out.
Laugh So I Don't Die is the book I'm writing. Now, I'm involved in a few writing projects. One is going to be that sapiosexual exchange I had with the sociopath. It's too good. I am not giving that up. Call it whatever you want. But Laugh So I Don't Die, I'm having trouble with, Kerry, because I'm admitting so many embarrassing, humiliating things on top of being so afraid of further injuring my sons. Just please think about helping me with that project, where I would send you a chapter and you would help me get through it and keep me telling the stories so my brain doesn't become too dissociative. And you don't have to answer now.
Okay.
But think about it, because it's a black comedy. I mean, I make, outrageous jokes and Laugh So I Don't Die. I make a joke about it was 2007 when I knew all my real estate was going out the door. So I make the joke that the universe created a housing crisis so I wouldn't feel so bad. That kind of stuff. That I just that the synchronicities were conspiring to help me get through it, but the surviving it, there's no doubt that this stuff was supposed to destroy me.
Yeah. No, I think it was. I think it was probably supposed to destroy me as well. It didn't. It made me. I hate how people say you're so strong. Well, what are my choices?
I know. What's the alternative? All right,
exactly. It's not like, that's not a compliment. It just means I was resilient because I decided I was not going to die. But I don't think there's anything noble about that.
And then they could tell people I went crazy because of the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that one you can't sell me on. Okay, Brian's going to start. We'll start up. Let's talk more about that, because I want to hear more from you.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.